Hello everyone, I am Heryono Sugiarto from English Literature, Bumigora University of Mataram. Now I would like to show my digital storytelling about Kartini and gender equality related to my speaking assignment. Please enjoy. Raden Ajeng R.A. Kartini was born in Mayong, Jepara on April 21, 1879. R.A. Kartini died on September 17, 1904, 4 days after giving birth to her only son. The figure who is known as the pioneer of women's emancipation in Indonesia died at a young age, which is 21 years old. Kartini's father, Raden Mas Adipati Aryo Sosroningrat, who was the regent of Jepara. Do you know my motto? I won. Those two simple words have supported and carried me several times across mountains of objection and troubles. The word I can't takes away courage. The sentence I won makes it easy for us to climb the top of the mountain. Quotes of Kartini's thoughts. Every year, Indonesia always commemorates Kartini Day, which falls on April 21st. The figure of Raden Ajeng Kartini is one of the national heroes of Indonesia. Kartini Day commemorates as a form of respect for Mrs. Kartini, who has fought for equal rights for women and men in the past. She is known as a pioneer of the emancipation of indigenous women at that time. R.A. Kartini has the motto Habis gelap terbitlah terang, which means that after there are difficulties, there must be a way or is. Like the difficulties of women in ancient times, there are treated one-sidedly deprived of the right to education, forced into marriage at a young age, and only allowed to stay at home to take care of their children. The difficulties and injustice made R.A. Kartini struggle to equalize the rights between women and men, one of which was in terms of education. She tried to teach how to read and write for women from the age of children to adults. Although many opposed his efforts, R.A. Kartini was never discouraged. Finally, the struggle of the female aristocrats has produced results that we can feel today, namely equal rights between women and men. Kartini is also very closely related to current gender issues. The concept of gender, according to Keputusan Menteri Keuangan 807 of 2018, is the role and status attacked to men on women based on socio-cultural construction that are influenced by the wider structure of society and can change according to the times, not based on biological differences. What is gender? Gender is the difference in roles, functions, and responsibilities between men and women, which is the result of social construction and can change according to the times. The term gender was first put forward by social scientists. They intended to explain the differences between men and women who have innate characteristics, God's creation, and culture formations, social construction. Kartini's struggle began when she was 12 years old. She was banned from continuing her studies after previously attending Europe's Lager schools (ELS), where she could learn Dutch. The ban of pursuing her dream of going to school came from her family and the news about the progress of women in Europe that sparked her heart to fight for women's rights in Indonesia, especially in the field of education. In Indonesia, the struggle for women's emancipation began in 1908. Justice and gender equality in Indonesia were pioneered by R.A. Kartini in 1908. The struggle for equal rights between men and women, especially in the field of education, was started by R.A. Kartini as a form of resistance to injustice against women at that time. In their next journey, R.A. Kartini's fighting spirit was followed up on December 22, 1928 by the Indonesian Women's Congress, which was later designated Mother's Day. In today's life, it is not uncommon for gender equality and justice to become a social problem. No doubt gender equality is used as an excuse for men, husbands, not to fulfill their obligation to women, wives. For example, in earning a living, not a few women work hard like men to provide for family life, while husbands seem to be free of responsibility for their wife and children. This is a gender issue that is not fair because the intent gender equality is having to pay attention to the nature of women. We cannot then deny that in Indonesia there are still many obstacles to approaching gender equality. Why? Due to discriminatory laws and regulations, perceived legal protection is still lacking and there is a gender-biased custom. An example of gender injustice or gender discrimination is the lack of public understanding of the consequences of social structure system in which one type, male or female, becomes a victim. Gender equality is a human right, the right to live with honor, freedom from fear, and freedom to make life choice. Not only for men, but in essence, women also have the same rights. Gender equality should not be viewed as the same rights and obligations without further consideration. Gender equality also does not mean that everything must be equal to men. This can be done by making change to decisions for themselves without having to be burdened with the concept of gender. However, until now, women are often considered complementary figures. Gender inequality often occurs in families and communities, and even in the world of work, discrimination or gender injustice occurs in various forms, namely stereotypes or standard image, namely labeling of one gender which is often negative and generally cause injustice. For example, because women are considered friendly, gentle, and neat, then it is more appropriate to work as a secretary or kindergarten teacher. On the other hand, men can also become secretaries, not only women. Subordination or secondation, namely the assumption that one gender is considered inferior or has a lower position compared to the other sex. For example, in the past, women have taken care of domestic work so that women are considered people of the house or friends in the bed. Marginalization, namely the condition or process of marginalization of one gender from the mainstream or work that result in poverty. For example, technological developments have caused what was originally done manually by women to be taken over by machines that are generally done by men. Double burden, namely the treatment of one gender in which the person concerned works far more than the other gender. Why does double load happen? Various observations show that women do almost 90% of the work in the household. And for women who work outside the home, apart from working in public areas, they also still have to do domestic work and so on. Violence, which is an attack on a person physically or psychologically, so that the violence does not only involve physical, rape, beatings, but also non-physical, sexual harassment, threats, coercion, which can occur in the household, workplace, place of worship, public place. To overcome this, it is necessary to continuously socialize that women also have the right to have an equal position with men. And women need to know how far they can be compared to men. Because for certain things, women cannot occupy the position of men in maintaining honor and protecting women themselves. In addition, giving equal right to men while protecting them will make women feel that their justice has been fully fulfilled. Then the balance of life will be realized. To be more optimal in achieving gender equality, it is also necessary to improve the legal instruments in protecting each individual and the availability of data as well as increasing community participation. The goal is quite simple, so that everything is balanced, equal, and fair, the realization of our dreams. From this story, it can be concluded that Raden Ajeng Kartini is an Indonesian national hero who fought for the emancipation of women. R.A. Kartini has created a book with the title Habis Gelap Terbitlah Terang. During his lifetime, R.A. Kartini also struggled to establish a school for women to elevate the status of women because at that time, women were treated unfairly. The values we can take from the life history of R.A. Kartini are religious, never give up, love to read, care, tolerance, and many more. In addition, the value of R.A. Kartini's struggle that we can emulate to be applied today are that Kartini didn't disobey, she was willing to sacrifice and dampen her ego to remain obedient to her parents. In addition, he also continues to strive to achieve his goals. Respecting other people means that we can respect them. Willing to sacrifice also means we are more concerned with the common interest than personal.